Top 10 9/11 Facts. On September 11, 2001, 19 militants affiliated with the Islamic extremist group Al-Qaeda hijacked 4 planes and launched suicide attacks against U.S. targets. 2 of the planes collided with the World Trade Center Twin Towers in New York City, a third collided with the Pentagon in Arlington, Virginia, just outside Washington, D.C., and the 4th crashed in a field in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. Almost 3,000 people were killed in the 9/11 terrorist attacks, which sparked major counter-terrorism initiatives in the United States and defined George W. Bush's presidency. The following are 10 facts about the 9/11 attack. Number 1. President George W. Bush was reading with schoolchildren during the attacks. Bush was reading to a class of children in Sarasota, Florida, when his senior aide, Andrew Card, informed him that a plane had crashed into the World Trade Center. A short time later, Card informed President Bush of the next tragic development, declaring, "A second plane hit the second tower. America is being attacked." Number 2. 4 planes were hijacked, but Flight 93 crashed before reaching its target. On 9/11, 2 planes hit the World Trade Center, a third crashed into the Pentagon, and a 4th crashed into a field in rural Pennsylvania. It never made it to its intended destination, in part because members of the public broke into the plane's cockpit and confronted the hijackers physically. Though the 4th plane's destination was never determined conclusively, it is known that at 9:55 a.m. on the day of the attacks, one of the hijackers redirected Flight 93 towards Washington, D.C. The plane crashed in Pennsylvania, about 20 minutes from the American capital. According to the 9/11 Commission report, the plane was en route to symbols of the American Republic, the Capitol, or the White House. Number 3. It was the first time in history that all U.S. flights were grounded. Empty the skies. Land every flight. Fast. On the morning of September 11, 2001, the Federal Aviation Administration issued these orders to America's air traffic controllers. Fearing further hijackings after learning that a third plane had struck the Pentagon, officials made the unprecedented decision to clear the skies. All commercial flights across the country were grounded in about 4 hours. It was the first time in U.S. history that a unanimous order was issued to clear the skies of planes. Number 4. 16 people survived in a stairwell during the collapse of the North Tower. When the World Trade Center's North Tower collapsed, Stairwell B in the middle of the building sheltered 16 survivors. There were 12 firefighters and 1 police officer among them. Number 5. It was the longest uninterrupted news event in American history. The South Tower collapsed in New York City at 9:59 a.m. The North Tower arrived 102 minutes after the first aircraft collision, at 10:28 a.m. Millions of Americans were watching the tragedy unfold live on television at that point. Some major American networks broadcast continuous coverage of the September 11 attacks for 93 hours, making 9/11 the longest continuous news event in American history. And, immediately following the attacks, broadcasters stopped airing commercials indefinitely, the first time such an approach had been taken since JFK's assassination in 1963. Number 6. The flames at Ground Zero burned for 99 days. The New York City Fire Department stopped putting water on the flames at Ground Zero, the site of the World Trade Center's collapse, on December 19, 2001. The fires were put out after more than 3 months. Brian Dixon, the FDNY's chief at the time, declared of the fires, "We have stopped putting water on them, and there is no smoking." The cleanup operation at Ground Zero lasted until May 30, 2002, requiring approximately 3.1 million hours of labor to clear the site. Number 7. The evacuation of Manhattan was the largest maritime rescue in history. In the 9 hours following the World Trade Center attack, approximately 500,000 people were evacuated from Manhattan, making 9/11 the largest boat lift in recorded history. In comparison, approximately 339,000 people were rescued during the Dunkirk evacuations during World War II. The Staten Island ferry ran non-stop back and forth. The U.S. Coast Guard enlisted the help of local mariners. Trip boats, fishing boats, and emergency crews all assisted those fleeing. Number 8. Only 60% of victims have been identified. According to CNN, the medical examiner's office in New York had only identified 60% of the 9/11 victims by October 2019. Since 2001, forensic biologists have been examining the remains discovered at Ground Zero, adapting their approach as new technologies have emerged. On September 8, 2021, the chief medical examiner of New York City announced that 2 more 9/11 victims had been formally identified, just days before the 20th anniversary of the attack. The discoveries were made possible by advances in DNA analysis technology. Number 9. Steel from the World Trade Center was turned into memorials. When the World Trade Center's North and South Towers collapsed, approximately 200,000 tons of steel fell to the ground. For years, large amounts of that steel were stored in a hangar at New York's JFK Airport. Some of the steel was repurposed and sold, while others were displayed in memorials and museum exhibits around the world. Two intersecting steel beams from the World Trade Center were recovered from the rubble at Ground Zero. The 17-foot-tall structure, which resembles a Christian cross, was erected at the September 11 Memorial Museum, which opened to the public in 2012. Number 10. The attacks and their repercussions may have cost $3.3 trillion. The immediate aftermath of the 9/11 attacks, including healthcare costs and property repairs, cost the U.S. government approximately $55 billion, according to the New York Times. The global economic impact, including travel and trade disruptions, is estimated to be $123 billion. If the subsequent war on terror is included, as well as long-term security spending and other economic ramifications of the attack, 9/11 could have cost up to $3.3 trillion. There you have our top 10 facts about the 9/11 tragedy. September 11, 2001 will be a black eye on America. As a result of the toxic dust, nearly 10,000 people have cancer. Thank you for watching and be sure to subscribe for future videos.